UKLC is presented by Barclays and Curry's PC World.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the UKLC as we're getting ready for our third game of the day. It's Bulldog versus Enclave. Bulldog unfortunately haven't been able to find themselves a single win, while Enclave were tied with M&M for first place with a couple of other teams, but after the loss there, potentially could actually go back up and tie with M&M once again.
I think it's sad for Bulldog. They've had a lot of roster shuffles. They've kind of tried to change things up quite a lot. As far as I can see, they've actually brought a new jungler in today as well. They've brought in Zyko into the jungle over Fortel. They're running the same roster. Apart from that, they have really shuffled through the junglers during this split of the UKLC. That one week of demo, I believe they had someone else in afterwards, and obviously then Fortel being shoveled in and out of the roster too. They're just trying to find a winning strategy for this roster, which is very difficult to do right now. The team morale must be incredibly low, and I really feel for them because no one wants to end the split on absolutely 0 wins.
Yeah.
Enclave, on the other hand, a team that's got a lot of really powerful names on, like Shogun, Rafa, Only Angel. Jacob has been a bit hit and miss in the mid lane. Rabstar has his excellent days and his off days, but I think has slowly been improving, especially positionally. This definitely feels like it's massively Enclave favored, even, putting the scorelines aside anyway. Just bringing in a new jungler randomly has got to hurt synergy for the team too. Bulldog just desperate to find something that works for them.
I'm glad you hit on Jacob, though, because there is this diamond in the rough who is Thomas Go, who part of me feels a little bit sorry for because, he hasn't had the best split, but him as an individual player has had an incredible split. So I would like to see, him try and abuse Jacob and actually take over this lane.
That is the question, right? We saw Thomas Go on the LeBlanc yesterday have a really excellent performance, but it's not like he excelled in lane. He had some really big picks and skirmishes, but apart from that, didn't actually get much work done, and the rest of his team were too far behind to actually make a difference. That's the question. What can Thomas do in the lane to potentially influence his side lanes? The same question we posed to Bulldog yesterday. It's the same question I'm going to pose to them today. Thomas is your superstar. Everybody else in your roster is wildly below par. I don't mean that in a horrible way. It's just that they aren't as good as the competition. Obviously, if they were as good as the competition, they would be getting wins. But Thomas is the kind of the diamond in the rough for this team, and he's the player that I think really stands out as the carry. And Jacob has been a little bit moot, like for Enclave. He hasn't been the standout player for this roster. So maybe there is a difference there that could be exploited. But otherwise, every lane is kind of Enclave favored.
Yeah, it really does feel that way. And I mean, I guess the only other potential weak point, like you said, could be the bot lane with Rabstar making a fair few mispositions in the lane and can be potentially punished. But I just don't know if Misclick and Girish have what it takes to punish him. And Shogun has been so good at kind of bailing Rabstar out of, potentially silly areas to be in. So I think the bot lane duo has been really good. And also, when we did have a chat with Shogun last week, he was kind of saying that this is one of the things that Rabstar has been improving on. And Rabstar, when he's not kind of messing up his positional mistakes and kind of overstepping in lane, does look like one of the best top, AD carries in the league. What separates him from the top tier AD carries, from, Blue Spirits and people like that, is his laning phase has a few errors here and there. And personally, I just don't think Misclick and Girish really have what it takes to deal with Rabstar doing that. But maybe with Zyko coming in, he might be able to find these mistakes that Rabstar makes and actually maybe look to snowball through bot lane as well. So I'll have to find out, but we are going to cut to a quick break. And when we're back, we'll be back with our third game of the day. So don't go anywhere. See you in a second. Hello and welcome back to the UKLC as we're getting ready to go into our third game. Picks and Bans is away, and the set has been instantly removed from the side of Bulldog. Don't want to give that to Only Angel. We know he plays that a lot. And actually, one of the things I kind of want to talk about is we're seeing less and less of the set getting picked up because teams are now starting to prioritize banning it. It was something that was just being left open and kind of counter-picked, but it now feels like the teams just don't want to deal with it at all. So set just kind of constantly getting banned away.
Yeah, I think Set is also a very comfortable pick for a lot of the players in our league. He's a very versatile and flexible pick too, so it makes a lot of sense. The Ash and Volley Bear taken off the board here, so Ash being taken away from Rabstar, and it is going to be the LeBlanc denied for Thomas Go, a pick that he had actually had success on despite his team's loss yesterday.
Now I'm going to go for the Callista here for Misclick. Obviously, with the Ash banned away, Enclave could look for something like a TF to handle that if they want. Having a look down kind of the pipeline of what AD carries have been left open, Rabstar could just take the Ezreal. Something obviously, if he makes the kind of position where, as we know, Rabstar makes, Ezreal's kind of a get out of jail AD carry in that sense with the shift. So maybe they'll go for that. Looks like that probably will be the option for Rabstar. Maybe a jungler get picked up here as well, and they can pick their support a little bit later.
If it's Trundle, I'm really happy with that. We don't get to see a huge amount of Trundle, but he's a very solid kind of one-size-fits-all jungler in that sense. He functions really well with poke. He's really good as a decent frontliner. He has gank potential. Like, Trundle's just a really good, versatile jungler that slots into a lot of different compositions. Now we'll see what Bulldog choose to respond with. I think they're gonna pick up their support here for sure, whether it's Thresh or whether it's Nautilus. They're the two often combined supports with the Callista. Thresh makes a lot of sense. It's probably the best one that you can get. And then I suppose you either go for a jungler here, or you could maybe go for something for Thomas before they ban out other mid laners that he would want. Like a good blind like a Azir could be really strong for Thomas in this situation.
Yeah, they may just go for an answer route into the jungle here, and it looks like Zyko going to pick a comfort pick up for him and take the Lee Sin away. Now, I was thinking, like, sometimes what you do with the Ezreal is you pick something like the Karma, so you can kind of just get the lane shove, but I feel like into the Thresh is very good at punishing Karma, can catch them out, so I don't think we'll see the Karma get picked up for Shogun in this particular scenario. Looks like he's just going to answer out of something with a hook himself and take the Braum so he can be a tanky frontliner to go in this lane, and now we're into the ban phase once again. I reckon we're probably going to see a little bit more attention on the mid lane once again get taken away. Maybe an Orianna ban coming out, as that has made it through so far.
Yeah, Orianna's a really good blind pick in this scenario. Azir would be a solid ban. I reckon if you're a Bulldog, you probably ban out the Orianna and the Azir, just because they're the blinds that maybe Thomas Go wouldn't be able to exploit too much. The Syndra makes a lot of sense. Also, it's a really dominant mid laner when played correctly. So yeah, I think you're right. I think we're going to see a lot of attention turned to the mid lane bans. But if I were Bulldog, they're actually banning top laners. They're banning Malphite here. Very interesting.
Answers a lot of what's kind of open as well within the top lane. You still got the likes of the Wukong and stuff, so it's a comfortable pickup. But there's the Orianna ban actually from Enclave's side now. And do they go for another top laner ban, or do they want to just ban away another mid? It looks like the Camille will get removed from Only Angel.
And they're just targeting Only Angel here.
Yeah, just forcing them down. I feel like Enclave just take a blind mid, like the Zoe, something like that for Jacob. And then look to counter pick Only Angel top lane.
The Azir or the Zoe. Right. Yeah, the Azir or the Zoe. Azir is really good into Callista in teamfight scenarios, because if you get ahead or you're doing well on the Azir, like it completely outranges. That's a Kennen. I talked about it yesterday. Yeah, it's something the LCK are playing a ridiculous amount of. It's actually a pretty solid blind top, because there are very few top laners that do well into it. They have just banned the Camille as well, one of the few top laners that actually does well into the Kennen. So that's a blind Kennen for Only Angel. The LCK are playing a lot of this, and it has a very positive win ratio. The way that you look for it is you look for teleport flanks and flank situations with your ultimate. But that is the gauntlet now being thrown down, because it's the Jace lock-in for Kera.
Could be Jace mid. We actually have seen Jace, a resurgence in Jace mid. Kind of just going back to the Kennen real quickly. When Only Angel returned to the UK scene, there were two champions he was playing a lot of, the Aatrox and the Kennen. And I remember his Kennen was incredible. So really glad to see him go back onto that. And now Bulldog looking to pick themselves up the Zoe for the mid lane. So it is going to be the Jace in the top lane to deal with this Kennen. Again, something that used to get played into that as well. And Enclave looking to round out with their mid laner. Azir makes the most sense. It kind of deals with the Zoe in lane as well as kind of just outranging, like you said, zoning away the Kalista in these later team fights. So expect this to be picked up for Jacob. And man, I am excited for the top lane. I am so excited for the top lane.
If he's feeling like, oh, I was thinking TF might have been an option as well, you know, if he was feeling like going for the TF. But the Nico, the second game today that we've seen the Nico come out in, and versus shorter range carries, Nico can be quite destructive because her ultimate has a very, very large range and she can lock down those targets really easily with the amount of CC she has. The only worry that I have for Enclave is they have a little bit of a lack of damage scaling, but the AoE teamfight potential, and as long as Rabstar has an okay laning phase, Enclave have got a destructive 5v5.
Yeah, they really, really do. We saw the power of what Nico can do with the zoning. You pair that up with the fact that there's a Kennen as well. If you find Bulldog in like in a jungle corridor or in a Baron or Dragon Pit, you start layering in the Pop Blossom and the Slicing Maelstrom, and Bulldog are just going to get cut down. They don't really have an effective front line. They've gone for a Jace top lane. They don't really have a tank, and obviously Trundle won't have anyone to like highly prioritize for his sap with the subjugate, but at least he'll be able to steal some bonus stats for himself. So he'll still be a somewhat effective frontliner, especially with Shogun. There's a lot of damage on Bulldog's comp, but I do worry that without that front line, they could be liable to just getting blown up from the kind of ability to kite from the Glacial Augment Nico and the zoning that offers. And then with the fact that Rabstar is on the Ezreal, he's such a hard AD carry to pin down. If they don't land the bubble or the hook onto him, I just don't think they'll be able to catch Rabstar out.
My worry for Bulldog is they have a composition that relies on being good laners. They have a composition that relies on being able to play effectively through lane, and that's not been a strength of Bulldog. Now, Zyko could be the defining factor here on this Lee Sin. If you can get into the lanes and be impactful, then maybe we see a change of tune for this roster. But like, if you don't do well on the Jace and you don't do well on the Kalista, you might as well kiss this game goodbye already, because you're never going to win in a team fight scenario. The only way that you win this is by being sort of far enough ahead in terms of gold advantage and item advantage that if you get to a 5v5, it doesn't matter about the actual mechanics of the team fight, because you'll just end up killing people before they can make things happen. That's my only worry for Bulldog, because they haven't classically been particularly good laners throughout the course of this tournament.
No, it's obviously coming into this game, if you look at it on paper, it's obviously Enclave who are in that top group looking for another win and looking to kind of tie up with M&M, who beat them yesterday. For Bulldog, they are still looking for a win. They're looking for an upset. And if they can find a win here, I believe they're out the runnings anyway for playoffs. But even so, a win here really throws a curveball, really upsets the apple cart. So, you know, the back of my heart, in my heart, I am, I'm screaming Bulldog right now. I really would like to see them get their first win, and it would be a monumental win as well as far as the standings go. So it could be a big upset. Looks like the group of 5 are going to move up towards this top lane, and maybe we'll see a late invade from Bulldog.
Well, you try anything that you can in these situations. Maybe looking to catch out Only Angel in the lane very early on to give him, or to give Kera a slight advantage here. That would be a nice play. Or they're going to go for, like I said, for a late invade round to the top side of the map. Only Angel will be able to spot them out.
They got on that huggy rule, so they'll only just about see him there. And he actually popped out the ward, so they did see him about. Vision will get taken down. The information is given over. And the response from Enclave is just going to move in and ward up the enemy jungle so they can spot out where Zyko is on is clear.
One of the problems that I think Only Angel is now going to face is that he's now taken his E first, which is usually what you want to take last, as in level 3. So now he's got a skill that's going to prevent him from being a bit more harass-focused in lane in the early levels, and that might be a bit of an issue for him. He's maybe not going to get as much work done in those, like between levels 1 and 2. He's going to have to wait till level 3 to get his full kit to be a bit more effective.
And that ward that got placed down by Shogun means they will spot him out on the red buff. The information is there. So Enclave make their way down towards the bot lane, so do Bulldog. Both the junglers starting up on their red side.
You can see already zoning coming out from Girish, just looking to go in. Shogun misses the hook. Rabstar and and Shogun know that their level 1 really just is not as good. As the hook comes through, lands it, but they won't really get much else done with it. Just get a little rend off, which can be difficult. The level 1 of Callista is just so much stronger than most of their AD carries because of that execute potential. And Shogun and Rabstar, they could not get the push. They could not zone out for level 2, and they will have to be playing a lot more careful in the early stages of this lane.
The level 1 of the Ezreal is actually where he is a little bit weaker, just because he doesn't have that shift available to him. So in a lane like this, where it's a very aggressive bot lane who are, you know, almost one of those kind of perfect synergy bot lanes, you have to be extra careful if you're Rabstar. Now that he's got level 2, he does have the option to shift and should be okay to kind of play a little bit more relaxed now.
If you step up and take 1 spear, though, it's a lot of damage that gets thrown down onto you. Now, the vision control is there in the river. They're actually going to get a very early back off with this first push. Rafa's now being pinged out as he heads towards the red side jungle of the Lee. He's going for a very big wraparound towards the spot lane, but they've already backed, so he won't get caught out.
Although, Girish is about, with that hook, Rafa's going to start up. Frozen Domain is used, and Girish actually looking for a play onto Jacob, so they didn't really know where the jungler was, and it looks like they are just looking to help him shove out the lane, so Thomas just getting a reset put through for him if possible.
Bit of wasted time for Girish, though, to be honest with you. Like, he could have backed at the same time as Misclick and got back to the lane at the same point, but really he roamed mid for absolutely nothing. Like, actually, because Zyko was already covering. Like, I understand maybe the attempt for the gank there, but Zyko is covering, and now it's kind of just delayed getting back to lane and going to delay some experience for Girish here.
In my head, what I thought was going on was they knew that Rafa was invading, and they were going to wrap onto him with a free man. But that looks like that wasn't the plan. It was a bit of just a miscommunication and a bit of a light mistake coming out from the support for Bulldog, but at least he was there if he needed to be. As Thomas is struggling in this lane versus the Nico.
Nico's a very, very dominant laner, to be completely honest with you. Zyko's now going to be engaged upon by Rafa, will dodge over the wall. And actually getting potentially forced out here by...
He has to flash.
Yeah, he has to flash as well. Wow.
Had to flash the wall because he was a little bit too worried. Girish now stepping up. Is looking for the hook. Isn't going to quite find it. Level 3 for Shogun and Rabstar. Girish now just hitting level 3 as well. Misclick, obviously, with that roam from Girish, did get himself a slight level advantage. He's also got a massive CS lead. There is a big wave crashing in as Thomas is going to land himself a cheeky bubble off onto the Nico here. Gets himself a pretty nice trade with the spell thief off as Smite. But even so, he's very, very low. Almost completely out of mana, and Jacob just still has control of this lane.
Nico is, like you said, a very lane dominant carry. She's super like abusive to even to some of the ranged matchups. The only problem that you do have is that as the game goes on, it becomes harder and harder for you to actually have the damage output that you need to carry team fights. That's where you have to rely on someone else in your team, and luckily Ezreal is still in a state where he can become an absolute damage monster. With the back timings and with the lack of vision in the jungle, it is going to be an early dragon take here by Rafa, and I wonder if they knew that because Zyko was kind of spotted up top. Maybe that was the case here.
Zyko was looking for a gank in the top lane and wasn't actually able to find anything, and off the back of that, Enclave know this is going on. They saw Rafa walk over the wards, but they didn't have the people in the right position. Even with the massive bot lead they have, weren't able to actually do anything about that. So Ocean Drake is going to get picked up for the side of Enclave. 6 minutes on the clock, so it's a little bit early to go for that swap as well. So I don't expect to see anything really change up for the moment. And I would like to see Zyko actually move bot side and try and get this big lead they've been able to accrue for themselves onto Misclick and Girish and just snowball from there. We know how effective Callista can be from ahead. Enclave just not even letting that happen.
All right, Jacob starting to lose out a little bit here.
He is, and actually with that, that means Thomas is able to zone down. Hook goes wide as Girish gets hooked in return. Misclick putting the spears into Shogun, and you can see Thomas trying to make his way forward. Rabstar dodges away on the bubble. just in time, but he is able to make his way out. There's a good little roam there from Thomas, but unfortunately, doesn't actually net anything for Bulldog. And Rafa now maybe seeing if he can make something happen in the top lane, as Only Angel does have that level 6 available to him, does have the Slicing Maelstrom, and Kira half HP. Has to be very, very scared. Rafa shows himself out of the bush, and he just has to run away.
Good start for Enclave, as you'd expect. There's a small advantage being built up by Misclick in the bot side of the map. You obviously would completely anticipate that with the Kalista being a very lane dominant with the Thresh here. But honestly, I don't think they're getting far enough ahead right now. They've kind of missed a big window for kill opportunity. I think the Enclave bot lane have played this suitably defensively, and a 10 CS lead is not that big of a deal. The trade is going to come out. They're going to go towards that top lane to try and contest the Rift Herald. I wonder if Enclave are even interested in contesting this. They do have the Ezreal on the top side of the map, so that might be the case. Or Only Angel he's just used.
Oh,
flashed away. Yeah, good
Girish,
flash.
that was so slow. A bit of nerves there as he flashed and waited for the play. Only Angel does have a blast cone he can take if he needs to. He's got the Slicing Maelstrom, and actually, with the inside track and with the advantage Enclave have been able to get, they've got the members over here to contest this Herald, and Bulldog just decides to run away from it.
All right, so can Enclave get on to this Rift Herald? Can they actually take it? Because that's what the swap was out here for. They've made that swap to contest the Rift Herald. They don't want to lose another big global objective to Enclave. They've already lost the dragon, so they've already lost the dragon. So that is already one objective that they would have wanted to take, because it's going to start a soul timer for them to deal with. They don't want to lose the Rift Herald, because with the Kalista, you're designed to have good neutral objective control. That's designed to be your main focus. Now Rabstar getting engaged on.
Yeah, Zyko only just hitting level 6 as they do get themselves the big old kick combo down. First blood picked up for Misclick. The heal won't be enough as Rafa chomps down for a second in return. No jungler for Bulldog versus no support for Enclave means the Herald is a very real option. However, Jacob heavily shoved in the mid lane. Thomas was able to roam over, and I think that actually will slow them down. So no one's going to get the Herald off the back of that play. The things are coming down once again, and maybe looking for a play in the top side onto Rabstar, who has to shift away as Girish looking for the hook, is going to force the flash out from Rabstar. With the Fate's Cool used from Misclick there. The Rift Herald getting started up by Rafa. Only Angel's also roamed over here. So it's not Only Angel, it's Jacob. I actually got baited by the Nico.
Well, they're actually going for the Rift Herald. I mean, Shogun's coming over. Actually, that's a big misplay for Bulldog to not be able to contest on this. So the Misclick's very strong right now.
Yeah, they have to use the smite already. If the Pop Blossom gets used by Jacob, they're looking to lock down a member. Kick lands out by Zyko, and Misclick's able to survive. Rabstar getting chunked and flashed onto. Thomas has another flash to go with as they got themselves the kill. They've zoned them off the Herald. Just a massive win overall for the side of Bulldog as they mop up a couple more fights.
That's what you want to see from Bulldog. You really want to see them continuing that pressure. The Rift Herald went over to Bulldog, right?
I think Enclave got it.
Oh, Enclave got it. That's actually a big
Bulldog
deal.
zoned them off it.
Bulldog zoned them off it, but Enclave picking it up is actually a really big deal, because that is another neutral objective loss. It doesn't matter that Kalista's picking up the kills. Obviously, that's nice, but the point of Kalista is to be able to be dominant at this stage of the game, so that you're able to get neutral objectives that are going to allow you to snowball. You want to be snowballing that dragon timer. You want to be taking the Rift Heralds to snowball gold, and you want to build up a huge global gold advantage because of that. Actually losing out on the Rift Herald at this point in time is a really big deal for a Kalista composition. Now what I want to see from Bulldog is to be able to get this second dragon. And yes, it's a bit delayed to start the soul timer, but it's another neutral objective that you're going to want to make sure that you get in your favor.
It looks like they're going to be able to do that as well. Rafa decided to step back. That early Ocean picked up is a great pickup anyway for Enclave, because like you said, denying them any soul timer, or at least slowing down the soul timer. And it is only going to be the Cloud Drake for the side of Bulldog to get their hands onto. So they're able to pick that one up. And the Crab. Nice cheeky Q over there to get that. And we are looking at another Infernal Soul. So good for the Ezreal, good for the Zoe.
It's actually huge for Bulldog in general. Good for the Jace, good for the Zoe, great for the Kalista as well. If they can get this Infernal Soul, that'll be a big win condition for their team. Jacob actually going in. Teleport here.
Only Angels coming in with a slicing Maelstrom. That was the flank you were hitting on into the Pop Blossom combo. And that is a nasty wombo combo from Enclave to get themselves 2 kills.
Oh, mate, you hate to see it, but that's the problem with Kalista into both the Nico and the Kennen. The combo is absolutely disgusting. Like, in a team fight, what are you going to do? What are you going to do in a team fight? It's not even like Girish particularly likes going for Mikhail's, although I feel like you're going to need it this game.
Kira actually turns that around onto Rabstar, forces the exhaust out from him. Kira's still feeling pretty comfortable. Obviously with the serrated and the core fields and the level advantage, actually able to do a fair amount to Rabstar. Rabstar once again takes a quick Q. That's pretty juicy.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Kara doing a lot of damage right now. Rabstar not exactly in the prime position. Will get stopped from backing, takes a Q to the face. Now Zyko, with the support of Girish, is going heavy in.
Forces out the depth charge from Shogun. The hook is flashed away as the true shot barrage almost skims into Zyko. But with Rabstar sent back to base, Only Angel has rotated over, so it doesn't look like too much more is going to get picked up here. Just a few more minions denied as Jacob has made his way over to the bot side to catch this wave. And like I said, they haven't really snowballed too many plates for the side of Bulldog.
They're actually behind in gold. Like,
yeah.
Irrespective of the way that you look at it, it is a Kalista composition that is behind in gold. But positive for Bulldog, they're not getting flattened. So,
yeah,
you know, one step at a time. We take baby steps in this situation. You're not getting absolutely flattened, which is a big deal. But like, Soul Time is delayed. You missed out on Rift Heralds. Like, this is not the situation that you want to find yourself in with the Kalista composition. This is, you're already behind the clock at this point, and I don't even think you don't have particularly good scaling. Like, you've got great single target and great catch potential with the Zoe and the Thresh, but you know, good vision control will definitely kind of make that a lot easier for you to cope with.
Yeah, absolutely. So I can now making a show up in the top side. You can talk a little bit about the visions. The vision placed down from Bulldog. A lot of their wards are on this top side of the map, leading up around the river, and a few cheeky ones into the red side jungle of Enclave. You can tell that this next Rift Herald spawn may be the point where we see Bulldog try and pull the trigger to get themselves something in this game, because it's very, very close. And like I said, the scaling pretty happy for Enclave, pretty comfortably in their favor. Thomas trying to use the more Sparkles passive to get himself first Tower of Blood, and he should be able to do so.
Yeah, a bit of an issue for Enclave to lose the first tower like that, but they do trade back pretty effectively on the bot side of the map. Actually, Kara and Shogun coming in here. The Ghost Blade popped.
That's the flash away from the hook as well. Blade the Ruined King not finished up for Misclick yet. I believe he'll have it on this base. Manamine on to Rabstar. Yeah, he has the gold. So he'll be able to get himself the Blade the Ruined King here. But already, Jacob's got both of his Glacial Augment items. He's got the GLP. He's got the Twin Shadows.
Oh, yeah. Like, one of the things that is really good versus Kalista is targeted CC and slow. What does, you know, Jacob have? He's got an incredible amount of slow, making Kalista such an easy target for both Rabstar and Only Angel to find really influential picks on. This next dragon fight in 45 seconds, it's genuinely worth fighting when you have those item spikes, although this is huge if Rabstar does go down, but the support of his team was too much.
That was a very, very risky one, especially when Zyka doesn't have flash, so you can't guarantee the kick into the base, into the team, sorry, from Rabstar. Although Bulldog with that have half healthed him and got him pretty low on mana, as he was trying to actually go for a base before the dragon spawns up. He's now going to base now with 20 seconds, so this actually affords Bulldog the ability to get zone control here, and they may just look to get their second dragon.
One of the major things that you can't do is face check a Zoe in a Thresh. And if you don't have vision control, that makes it very hard to do so. And that is going to, it means there's a lot of setup time required here for Enclave to be able to get into a good position to fight. Like, face checking here is so bad. Oh,
that's a big hook into
Angel.
the Slicing Maelstrom. The kick comes down, and Thomas is sniped with the True Shot Barrage. It chases him through the lantern as Jacob lands himself the snare. This should just be dragging over to Enclave, although Bulldog still got health on Zyko. They still want to fight here. Shogun going to get zoned away by Kira momentarily. Dragon half HP. And Rafa still inside the pit. Zyko has to land a miracle kick as the pillar lands down. They get the hook. They get Kira. Down he goes. As Girish has to put down the ultimate to get his way out. Misclick can pull him in with a Fate's Call. A couple of kills. And the Dragon for Enclave.
They didn't even need to pop their ultimate on Nico. They didn't need to pop the pop blossom. That is how dominant this was. Only Angel playing the cannon perfectly into the Callista. This is exactly what you want to do. This is why this pick is so popular in LCK right now, because it has so much team fight control, especially versus the popularity of someone like Callista. This is another one of those compositional differences that we've seen in the UKLC today, where like people are starting to work out that, hey, Callista is really bad because she's a short in team fight scenarios. If she doesn't stomp the lane and get really far ahead, in team fight scenarios, she's actually kind of bad because she's short range and easy to lock down with a lot of champions that we maybe aren't considering, like the Nico.
Trying to zone him off this next Rift Herald here. Slicing Maelstrom's not quite available, but Misclick's stuck under mid lane tier 1, trying to clear the wave out. Thomas does get himself a nice paddle star off onto Only Angel, but I just don't think they have the ability to contest this. And Enclave, sorry, will get their hands on to the second Rift Herald. They took the first one, but weren't able to pick it up. And this should just be a mid lane turret cracking here as Rabstar throws down the True Shot Barrage to clear the wave out. Actually, the base did come through from Rafa, so looks like it's not going to be the case for now. But I expect to see this Rift Herald used to crack open the mid lane turret and open the map up for Enclave.
Mid lane would be a really big one because it's going to allow them to be more aggressive with their vision control in the blue and red side jungle. And that is then going to kind of prevent some of these situations that a Bulldog will be looking for, especially around Dragons and Barons, where they want to set up good vision control to, make it so that Enclave at some point have to face check them. If Enclave are able to take down the mid lane tier 1 and establish a really strong line of defense or offensive vision control in the enemy jungle, it's going to make it much harder for Bulldog to set up blind situations for the Zoe and the Thresh. That's kind of eliminating some of the power of their composition around these neutral objectives, which is a really big deal. Especially given that we're already a little bit far, obviously Bulldog are already now behind with a composition that really at this point should be ahead. And it's only going to get worse, I feel, versus the Ezreal.
That'll be the end of days for Shogun as he is taken down by Thomas. Nice little pick there, but the flash was used on Girish just for that. I don't know if that's going to really actually net Bulldog anything, especially using your fresh flash. Pillar's going to get used by Rafa. The hook gets dodged away, and Rabstar actually shifts in forward, misses out, and goes for a quick dance. Now, one thing I do want to talk a little bit about is the power of Infernal Soul, especially if you're on the Bulldog side. Blue side is quite nice, actually, to have an Infernal Soul on. So if the enemy team do set up for Baron and you're all alive, the power of the Nico and the Kenton is they have the great ability to zone you off through these jungle corridors. But with a lot of the walls knocked down, it's actually fairly easy to still find a wraparound into the pit area. If our observer could actually zoom out a little bit and just show us the blue side jungle. See, there's normally a wall where the blue buff is, but there is no wall. So if you get zoned off one of these entrances, it's really easy just to quickly wrap around and find a different entrance into the river. So maybe that's something to keep in mind. But again, Bulldog are on a scaling composition, so we'll have to see. As it looks like they are just looking to try and brute force mid now.
What I would say for Bulldog is they need Infernal Soul to win this game, honestly. I think that the further this game goes down towards endgame team fights, the more that I think that they need Infernal Soul as a win condition. So not having Infernal Soul, or at least not being close to Infernal Soul right now, genuinely think is really bad for the Bulldog composition. They may end up losing. I think they are going to lose mid lane tier 1 here. And as we just previously discussed, that's a really big tower, probably the most important tier 1 to take in the game, because now it's going to allow Enclave to establish some more offensive vision control in both the blue and red side jungle, which will allow them to more effectively set up for Barons and for Dragons, and also add to the mix. We talked about slowing and targeted CC. Rabstar's now finished his Iceborne Gauntlet. This is going to be a rough game for Misclick.
It's going to be really, really hard. Now, we've seen a lot of Triforce gets picked up recently for the Ezreal, but Iceborne obviously just offers you so much defensive utility, and once you got that Death Stance, you're basically a pseudo tank who's doing crazy damage, especially with the Conqueror. So it's going to get really, really hard to deal with that. And Enclave now just clearing out the vision around this Baron, around this Dragon, sorry.
Kera popping the Ghost Blade there. Interesting. Was looking for maybe a shockwave, do a bit of damage, but you know, Ghost Blade's a really short cooldown, so you can kind of pop it just to get movement speed if you want to from time to time.
Yeah, it's not overly important, but we haven't really seen too much out of this Jace. He's got a good farm, but he hasn't really offered anything yet. Got the Night's Edge, got the Ghost Blade. I want to see something from him here. As Shogun dodges one, the paddle star, the bubble also gets missed, and that is Misclick getting targeted out. The True Shot will land onto him, a big flavor into the backline. Only Angel slides with the True Shot barrage. The Pop Blossom locks multiple members down, and Enclave find themselves the first kill as Girish gets a kill down. As now Rafa actually looking to get some damage off of the Misclick, but Misclick just takes an arcane shot to the face, and Thomas actually able to mop up a little bit on the back end here. Has himself a flash to work with. He's going to get chased out by a couple of members. Does flash away towards safety, but the pillar's going to get used, and Thomas continuing to thread this damage into the members. Bubble will hit on to Nico. Jacob is able to walk away from it. The flash gets used by Thomas, and he's actually looking for the solo kill, but he gets hooked.
Oh
Uses the
my
damage,
God.
and Rafa gets the kill. Bubble's been used, and Zyko unable to mop up, misses out on the Q. He's used all of his movement, and Jacob will mop him up. It went from bad to worse for Enclave there. Sorry for Bulldog.
Oh, no. I mean, that was super fancy from Thomas to get the burst. And obviously, the longer that you fire your Q, the more damage it does at its end location. And Shogun took, like, what, half his HP in one shot, and he wasn't even set up with the Sleepy Trouble Bubble. But they just weren't able to get the killing blows onto those targets. And another team fight loss from Bulldog. You can't help but feel that their comp's going to get worse from this position. They really aren't utilizing Jace in his strength. Jace's strength is side lane pressure. He has the ability to take down turrets extremely quickly. They haven't really been able to use that. They haven't utilized the 1-3-1, which they could potentially have with the Zoe. And they're obviously just losing control of those objectives from the very start of the game. That's not ideal for the composition that they're running, Hipbrain. It's really not ideal at all. Bulldog, honestly, they're staring down a potential 10th loss in the UKLC from this point forward.
Yeah, it's feeling very hard for them to kind of pull this back, especially when they're so reliant on Snowball. But obviously for Zyko? Yeah, I think Zyko's dead.
I think Zyko's dead too.
That is Lee Sin in a nutshell. You land the kick and you just take it.
Well, Zyko might not be the answer for Bulldog either. I don't know what the answer for Bulldog is right now. They are really struggling. I think even compositionally, this was a bit of a wild one today. Rabstar doing some classic Rabstar. And just ran, even though he knew both Misclick and Kero there, he decides to try and walk it his way through the most dangerous part of that mid lane entrance.
Only Angel's onto the flank. Bubble's going to get used, and the Predator Belt by Thomas to go and get away. Do not want to get caught out by the Slicing Blossom combo for Enclave, and it looks like they are just going to back off, spend some gold, and Rabstar closing in on that death stance.
That was really cheeky from Jacob, by the way. There are very few situations where I think that the Nico ultimate is useful, but copying Kennen and flanking from two different sides, that's actually legitimately a pretty solid use of the Nico ultimate. Like, if a Kennen runs at you, like, no matter what you're thinking, that's something that you've got to respect. So I actually really like that use of the Nico ultimate from Jacob. It's a little hidden trick to, like, sorry, the Nico passive from Jacob.
Passive. I was wondering when you were going to catch yourself on that one.
It's a little cheeky use of the Nico passive for Jacob because often it's honestly one of the most useless passives in the game. But, like, in this situation, it actually has some merit.
Yeah, it really does, actually. Now, Infernal Soul spawning up in 2 minutes. I feel like Bulldog are kind of out of options, really. If they want to go for the full 5-5, you just don't win into the Kennen and the Nico.
Like,
and then with just Rabstar being so hard to pin down, he's got the Death Dance, he's got the Iceborne, Muramana's fully stacked. This is a tanky Ezreal who is going to be doing a buttload of damage. And the last thing you wanted to do is get Infernal Soul, but I don't think they can stop him from getting Infernal Soul unless Thomas makes an absolute miracle happen. He's going to throw out the bubble and it's not going to hit anyone.
It's The mechanics of the team fight are like too hard to negotiate for Bulldog. Like, just even on a mechanical team fight level. One of the things that people always, say, like, Kallista's weakness is obviously one of her range. But in this situation, Kallista just isn't going to be a factor in a lot of these team fights. You have to rely on the combined poke of Thomas Go and Kara. Oh, and oh my word, Jacob takes a big hit there.
That is a lot of damage, actually. It's cool seeing Jacob is constantly disguising himself as Only Angel. Always being at threat. And like you said, it's quite a nice use of that. Thomas is, he is doing a lot of damage. He's got the Death Cap. He's got the Oblivion Orb. He's got the Luden's Echo. And over the wall, if they've got the vision to work with, you do still have to be somewhat scared if you're Enclave. You saw how much just a standard Q did to Jacob. If that's Rabstar, if that's Only Angel and they get zoned out of the fight before it even starts just off the back of Thomas, like that, half of Rabstar's health just evaporating. Obviously, he has got the Death Dance, so he doesn't need to go for a reset. He can just heal back up off it. They're going to land himself a nice little hook. A Shogun now. That damage is going to stick.
Oh, my word. That's Thomas Go, again, being one of the major factors here for Bulldog. They are trying to get that zone off that Infernal Drake, which is a huge deal. The more damage they do before the team fight, the more risky it is to go for the full 5v5 for Enclave. Kera now coming into the fray. That poke is something pretty significant to work with. Only Angel's looking for the flank.
He's on the flank. He's got Rafa with him. This is the Slicing Blossom. Zyko locked down and taken down as Shogun's able to secure the kill. Misclick is next to get taken out as Rabstar picks it up. Thomas can't do anything but watch as his team are just annihilated. The health bars on Enclave are low, but not low enough. And this should just be the Infernal Soul picked up for Bulldog.
Rabstar's playing it close. Kera may be looking for a wild steal here, but won't be able to find it. May even drop down here.
Oh, no. Exhaust used onto Thomas. Rabstar's able to pick the kill up. The True Shot Barrage almost snipes Kera. Meanwhile, Rafa just ignoring the fight and taking the dragon for his team. That is Infernal Soul at 30 minutes over to Enclave.
And that really, for me, seals the game for Enclave. I don't see a good way for Bulldog to come back in. You're seeing time and time again. When was the last time that you saw Misclick land a basic attack in a team fight?
I mean, he gets North assaulted at the beginning of every team fight. And then he just has to run away and he can't do anything.
There is nothing you can do.
Yeah.
This is the anti-Callista composition, and that's the problem when you pick Callista as your primary source of consistent DPS. Now Jacob here.
Oh, Pop Blossom actually gets used as the blast going out from Zyko. He flashes over the wall to try and get the escape off. Kicks in the wrong direction. Half health onto Baron, and Zyko no flash. Bulldog, they know this is going on, but they just can't contest it. They haven't got the members nearby. Kira's not there. He's off in the bot lane. This is just Baron for Enclave.
Nothing they could do in a teamfight scenario, Jake. Honestly, even with Pop Blossom down, you still have Only Angel, who's 207 on a cannon, with a very, very, very weak Callista at this point in time in the game. Bulldog just know that like, unless they get like a ridiculous pick with Thomas Go, there isn't much way to win out one of these teamfights. And the person that you've got to kill is Rabstar, but he's still so well protected by his team.
Yeah, Rabstar feels not impossible to deal with as Rafa actually shows up to try and clear out the wave. Kira now realizes that it's not the jungler, knocks him away with a knockback, and the rest of the team are actually coming in. Jacob may just lose his Baron here as he actually gets the snare off, and Zyko can't quite close the distance. Does have a blast cone though, and a cheeky ward hop, able to dodge away. Zyko, you gotta land that Q, Chief. Kicks the clone in the wrong direction and misses his next Q. Zyko, it is just a fumble after fumble. And Jacob is going to survive with his Baron buff.
And that might now allow a tier 2 push in the top lane here. Unfortunately, the rest of Enclave not quite in position to capitalize on all the time that wait. Oh my word, Only Angel.
Yeah, Thomas going to get stunned up and taken out by Jacob. Misclick can't quite get the damage off onto Only Angel. And Only Angel slivers away with just a tiny amount of health as they do land a hook onto the backline. But there's the depth charge onto the Callista. Girish jumps back in, but this time Misclick is starting to get those auto attacks off as Zyko looking to shield off his AD carry. But Girish will fall for a fourth time, and Misclick, sure, he auto attacks, but those auto attacks are doing no damage right now.
Yeah, he's only just finished the Death Dance, but right now Ezreal is a one whole item ahead. He's got the Blade of the Ruin King finish as well. Inhibitors are going to drop for Enclave. I don't know if they're going to have what it takes to end the game here. Thomas Go is still a pretty serious threat. Oh my word. They're going to end the game.
This is the end of the game. Kira and Misclick will not be able to do anything as Rabstar jumps in forward as Jacob mops up the kill. Misclick will just get annihilated by the Infernal Soul as Thomas does put one to sleep, but can't actually do too much here. And Enclave actually just power farming the KDAs. 20 kills in this game for the side of Enclave, and Bulldog just unable to answer out. The Nexus falls at 32 minutes, and Enclave seal the deal.
Bulldog 0-10 in the UKLC. I mean, I feel for them because they haven't had the formula right since the beginning. Like they've been shifting up their roster over and over again, and they just haven't found something that works. They have not found something that works, and that's really rough for them. Honestly, Enclave, they played it slow, they played it steady, but when you're running a composition like Bulldog, if you're not taking first Dragon and setting the soul pace, you're not getting the first Rift Herald, and you're not getting advantages in the Kalista lane, you're not winning the game. Like that's the thing with Kalista. Like the Kalista is supposed to get snowbally advantages. She's supposed to be pretty hard to deal with from level 4 onwards almost. And they just weren't able to solidify the advantages that you needed to play this. And then their composition had no legs versus a Kennen and a Nico. The pure mechanics of a team fight were impossible to overcome for a team and they had this need to want to team fight when really maybe the goal for them with double TP and a Jace was to go 1-4 or 1-3-1 and try and split push this, but it just wasn't able to work out.
And I think what this means as well now is as long as London win this game, we actually have a 4-way tie coming out of week 5. So as we're getting closer and closer to playoffs, it's still harder and harder to tell who actually is the best team in the league. There's so many teams who are so close. It's 7-3 on Enclave, 7-3 on M&M, and 7-3 on Munster. As long as London get their win in the next game, as they are playing versus Demise, it's a 7-3 London. But I feel like the next game's we'll get onto that in a little bit, but we definitely have a very clear-cut best of the league. But it's 4 teams, so we're so close, and I think this means that playoff is just gonna be really, really fun to watch because it's hard to call. I can't call it right now. I mean, this time last split, we knew who were the top teams in the league. We knew who were going to make it to the European Masters, and obviously with UKLC, it's now the Telia Masters and moving up towards the NLC, which is our final destination of the UK scene. But even so, it's very hard to tell who's going to be going off to play versus the Nordic teams in the Telia.
Of course. Again, you kind of summed it up, Jake. Too difficult to tell right now.
It's hard to tell, but we are going to cut to a quick break, and when we're back, I have an interview, so we'll see you after this break. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the UKLC. We are getting geared up and prepared to have a interview with Reveal, the coach for already had a brain fart on that.
Enclave.
For Enclave, thank you. I can't believe I forgot what team just won, but it's on next camera, so we'll be a little bit until we're getting ready to go into that one. Let's talk a little bit more about that game because obviously, Bulldog, it's not like the hardest win in the world, but there is still some life in Bulldog. They don't just roll over, and Thomas really, really tried in that game. I think it's fair to say that.
I think with Bulldog, it's clear that they have a game plan in mind. They have a philosophy that they want to work to, but it's just not coming together. I don't know what piece of the puzzle is missing for them, but there is quite clearly some piece of the puzzle missing, right? So yeah. that's what I can't figure out for Bulldog. I don't know what's going wrong for them, but there is quite clearly something missing.
Well, we'll maybe be able to get a little bit of an insight onto that because Reveal is ready for an interview. How are you doing, mate? You all right?
Hello, I'm doing fine. What about you guys?
Good, mate. I'm doing good. So obviously with that win, you have now pulled yourself back up into the tops after losing yesterday versus M&M. How does it feel to kind of be back at the top, and how are you feeling about the current top 4 teams, maybe top 3, depending on our next game? But how are you feeling about the other teams at the top versus the league versus you guys right now?
Okay, so first of all, it feels good to be back because I think that's where we belong and that's where we should be. That was a goal for us, and I don't see a lot of teams being better than us. Most of the teams that are on the top, they have clear weaknesses and strengths. So do we, I guess. So when we get to the best of 3s, I think everyone is gonna see the real Enclave.
Oh, that's interesting to hear. Going to level up when you head towards those best of 3 scenarios. Talk to me a little bit about that game. I feel like you kind of hard out drafted. I feel like the Nico and the Kennen basically killed any team fight potential for Bulldog in any way, shape, or form. And I think also somehow you got your hands on the first Drake, and you got your hands on the first Rift Herald, which really that shouldn't happen versus a Callista composition. So did you feel pretty comfortable just going from the draft that you'd kind of had the edge?
Yeah, I mean that's how we feel for most of our drafts. I'm not gonna be honest, but yeah, this one especially, it was a draft kingdom, but the boys executed super well as well individually. And yeah, against the Callista composition, you're usually losing first Drake or potentially second Drake and Herald and stuff. We didn't get to pick up the first Herald, but they didn't get it as well, so it didn't matter at all. So yeah, after I saw them getting nothing, no lead anywhere, and if the only lead that you're gonna get against our comp is Callista, then it's pretty easy to get kill with what we had.
Yeah. So speak to me a little bit about this Kennen pick, because obviously we see it a little bit in other regions, but we haven't seen too much of it in the UK at all. Is this something that you guys have been preparing for a while, or is it a more recent thing that you've kind of added to your sample?
No, this the Kennen pick has been sitting out basically for quite a long time. We felt like today was the right time to use it, but we also have a lot of other champions as well that people don't know that we can still play and use. So it's part of the strategy.
What is it Kennen's place in the meta right now? Because the LCK are playing loads of Kennen at this point in time. What is Kennen's role, and what does he do to counter some of the current parts of the meta?
So Kennen is a long-range champion, first of all, which we like a lot of them in the top lane right now. So every range versus melee matchup, you should have the wave control, and depending on how your team wants to play out the early game, where your jungler needs to be basically, he can control the wave as he wants. So I consider Kennen to be very, very good right now, especially into tanks. Yeah, I don't see the meta planers which are not tanks, like Bruises, Renekton, and Set and stuff, being able to do much to Kennen, and Kennen is always a powerhouse in team fighting. Oh yeah, I think Kennen is very, very good right now if you can play the champion actually.
Yeah, that's fair enough. So let's shift away from this game and look into the next game just quickly. I'd like to get your opinion on who you think's going to win versus Demise in London.
I think it's going to be Demise. I don't see London to be very strong, at least right now. I think Demise are a bit better, so I think Demise are going to win. But then again, you never know in this league. Yesterday we lost M&M, so can't say much.
Yeah, I mean, everything up in the air. It's interesting to hear that you think that the Mize are actually the stronger team here. Thank you very much for joining us for this interview, mate. It's been lovely to hear from you, and good luck with all your games in the future. For us here, we still have one more game to go at the UKLC. We still got London versus the Mize. This one's going to be quite explosive. You don't want to miss it. We'll see you after the break.